this is a YY Stallion novel. Getting to the point, Proud Immortal Demon Way is an incomparably long, golden finger against the heavens, harem greater than 3 digits, and with characters and scenes and a protagonist that even girls would like, sort of a cool cultivation novel. It's the year's best stallion novel, bar none. This book's male protagonist, Liu Binghe, doesn't walk the path of the lofty or the path of the waste, but still manages to take thousands of readers in the literary network by storm, influencing countless YY novels thereafter. He walks a pitch-black path. But before he was painted black, he walked a bitter path. Afterwards, the deep reader Shen Yuan was immersed in contents documenting infinite slaughter, making the summary before the end of the book seem very brief. Liu Binghe was born and immediately abandoned by his parents, wrapped in white cloth and put in a wood basin set into the water. After 9 cold days, it was only because the fishermen in the river picked him up that he didn't freeze to death in his early childhood. Because he floated among the ice floes and it was a season of ice and many waters, he was given his current name. He wandered the streets in his youth, starving, never wearing enough to be warm, having a grey childhood. A washerwoman working for a large family pitied the child, with no children at her knees, adopted him and treated him as her own son. The mother and son lived in bitter poverty, suffering the bully of the wealthy. Under such unhealthy growing conditions since childhood, Liu Binghe's character, after being blackened, only grows more twisted, full of grievances, with thousands of knives set to kill in his heart. What a good root buried here for a twisted character, Shen Yuan thought with a small laugh at his mouth. Just for a lukewarm bowl of porridge, he endured the beating of a noble son only to still be a step late and able to rush home to let his mother eat a mouthful before she died. In a coincidental opportunity, Liu Binghe was selected by the #1 cultivation sect in the world at the time, apprenticing under Xiuya Sword, Shen Qingqiu. He thought he was finally on the right track, but unexpectedly, Shen Qingqiu is fair on the outside, foul on the inside, the absolute worst sort of character. He is jealous of Liu Binghe's unparalleled talent, his heart always under siege to outperform his own disciples in cultivation, always taunting and bringing along others in ridiculing him. He only cultivated for a few years, but it was already a heart-aching endeavor full of blood and tears. It was difficult for Liu Binghe to reach 16 years of age, finally encountering the cultivation world's grand ceremonial Immortal Assembly Conference, held every 3 years. In his Immortal Assembly Conference, Liu Binghe was schemed against by Shen Qingqiu and fell into the cracks between the demon realm and the human realm, an endless abyss. As everyone knows, this is the true beginning of the story. Not only did Liu Binghe survive, he also found his unique sword skill, Xing Mo, and he learned about his own life. As it turns out, Liu Binghe is born from the loving union of the demon realm's ruler and the human realm woman, both of the blood of ancient demons and human blood flowing in his veins. His father was suppressed under great mountains, never to emerge again. His mother was a true disciple of a righteous sect, and after they found out about her affair, she was expelled, her cultivation dispersed, humiliated, displaced, and marked for killing. But she died only after giving birth to Liu Binghe from postpartum hemorrhage, hunger, and cold. She used her last birth of strength to give birth to him on the boat, eager to have a slim chance of survival. Liu Binghe, using the Xing Mo sword, opened the seal on the demon blood in his body. In the dark abyss, he cultivated painstakingly and achieved amazing results before heading back to Changqiong Mountain Sect. Starting from here, Liu Binghe proceeds to walk unhesitantly on the blackened road. His old enemies all died tragically under his hands, tortured. Liu Binghe uses his increasingly good camouflage and mental acuity to play a double game, step by step betraying trusts, seizing power, rising to the top. He set off a monstrous bloody storm and waves in the world, a reign of terror. As the plot develops, Liu Binghe blackens more and more. He returns to the demon realm, taking on Chen Jun's seat as the emperor, and still not satisfied, starts a bloodbath against the immortals in the human realm. Anyone who voices an opposition is exterminated to the root. In the end, the generation ushered in by Immortal Demon Luo Binghe sees a unification of the three realms, a harem with numbers beyond counting and numerous descendants. A stupid pen writes stupid words. This is Shen Yuan before he died. The last words he could curse. Who would know that a polite youth who used his money to purchase a very real and original copy, he persisted in finishing this kind of stallion novel before dying? This sort of appalling rotten text. Can't he curse as he wants? Author, airplane shooting towards the sky. Just looking at this ID, there's an evil aura surrounding it. Like a little grade schooler's pen, lightning should strike him. Even Shen Yuan is embarrassed at the author's messy, dogshit and unreasonably complex framework and plot. Have you seen anyone cultivate by riding a horse or a cart all day? Have you seen anyone cultivate when even their ass needs to eat and sleep? Have you seen an author whose comprehension and reason are enough to confuse cultivation? Everyone in front of the protagonist all have their intelligence taken away by his bastard aura. Maybe it was because Luo Binghe's shifu that Shen Qingqiu was a fighter jet amongst the worst, an unprecedented scum amongst scum. The reason for his existence is to be killed, and not only killed, if you look to the end. Don't misunderstand, Shen Yuan is not against him. This reason is also the most bore-aching for him. The foreshadowing is numerous, plot holes everywhere, mystery after mystery, layer upon layer of confusing fog. In the end, not even one can be solved. It's enough to cause a mouthful of blood. Then all those victims, who is the perpetrator? All those brilliant ladies who were taken into the harem, what was their end? Such a big pile of important names used and thrown away for what? Why at the end did they not come out? Airplane towards the sky, brother. Airplane, brother, stop and let's have a discussion. Fill plot holes, okay? Shen Yuan feels angry enough to come back from the dead. In the endless darkness, a mechanical noise sounded by his ear. Activation code. Stupid pen. Stupid words. Automatically triggering system. Who is this? The tone of voice is similar to Google Translate. Shen Yuan looked around. It was like he was floating in an imaginary space, his hands outstretched without meeting any obstruction. The voice came from nowhere. Welcome to the system. During the opening of the You Can You Up system, currently in its development phase, we wish to provide you with the best experience. It is our sincere hope that during the process, you will achieve what you have stated to transform a piece of stupid writing in accordance to your wishes into a high-end, expansive, and classic work. We wish you happiness. Inside the clouds, there is the sound of a man's voice by his ear asking lightly, Junior apprentice brother, can you hear me? Shen Yuan suddenly came to, alert, and opened his eyelids with effort. In front of his eyes are thousands of flowers and leaves tumbling, rushing and dipping away in the air before everything became clear. He is lying on a bed. Looking up, there is a full spread of white. From the four corners at the top of the bed hung exquisite scented sachets. Looking down, he wears white clothes in the ancient fashion, reclining on the pillow with a paper fan in hand. Looking to the left, a handsome man with hair in the Xuanduan style sits at the side of the bed, who turns to him, concerned. Shen Yuan closes his eyes, reaching his hand out for the paper fan and opening it. He fans himself, breaking out into a rain of cold sweat. The man's eyes flashed, asking in a warm voice, Junior apprentice brother is finally awake. Is there any discomfort in your body? Shen Yuan said, Nothing wrong. The information load is a bit big. Shen Yuan breathed deeply and tried to rise. That strange man, seeing his actions, reached out his hand and slowly lifted him up, letting him rest against the headboard. Shen Yuan has always been a cautious person. Before he understands the situation, he can only act as though he'd just woken up and is in a sleepy trance, asking, where is this? The man was surprised, then said, Did you really sleep so long you became confused? This is your Qingjing Peak. Shen Yuan's heart received a shock, but he continued to act as though he was dizzy. Why would I unknowingly sleep so long? The man let out a sigh and said, I haven't even asked you yet. How can you suddenly get a fever out of nowhere? I know the Immortal Assembly Conference is drawing near, so you're teaching your disciples and eager for success. But without Tiangong's history and fame, even if we don't forward a disciple for the conference, no one would dare to question us. There's no need for you to concern yourself with that sort of false acclaim. The more Shen Yuan listens, the more he feels that something's wrong. Why do these words sound so familiar? Continuing, that man earnestly and sincerely said some words that finally made him remember. Junior apprentice brother Qingjiu, are you listening to the senior apprentice brother's words? At this time, a ding made its presence, and the mechanical Google Translate sounding voice that he heard in the dream began. System activation successful. Binding your role, Luo Binghe's master, Changqiong Mountain Sect, Qingjing Peak Lord, Shen Qingqiu, weapons, Xiuya sword, points 100. What do you mean rely on you to play? How come it's like it's speaking directly in my brain? What's up with this proud Immortal Demon Way plot? Shen Yuan didn't speak out loud, of course, but that voice quickly made a response. You initiated the execution of the system. You are associated with and bound to the account Shen Qingqiu. As the plot progresses, a number of opportunities to gain points will be opened. Please make sure your points are not lower than 0, otherwise the system will automatically initiate punishment. Stop! Enough! Shen Yuan knows now. He has transmigrated. He's transmigrated into a novel he had just finished reading, a stallion novel he disliked and despaired of, and bringing along some freaky system with him too. Shen Qingqiu quickly accepted this reality. He is the protagonist's never-doing good deeds scum villain master Shen Qingqiu. The situation is a bit complicated. This man to the side, this is Changqiong Mountain Sect's immortal and main head, Shen Qingqiu's senior apprentice brother, Xuansu sword, Yue Qingyuan. Fuck. Shen Yuan, when confronted with Yue Qingyuan, let out a fuck because there's a grave reason. In the original work, Yue Qingyuan was personally killed by his good junior apprentice brother, Shen Qingqiu. Facing the victim who is being so warm in front of this murderer, the pressure is very great. But looking at the situation now, the story hasn't progressed to that step yet. Yue Qingyuan is still perfectly well, which indicates that Shen Qingqiu hasn't been saddled with a label of a hypocrite and hasn't been ruined yet. Yue Qingyuan is a very good person and has nothing to be afraid of. Shen Yuan likes reading and therefore actually quite likes this role. While at ease and unworried, a line of words floated up from the sea of his mind. Don't die too miserably. Tens and thousands of arrows shot through empty bones. In a murky black room, a metal rope hangs from the ceiling beam. From the metal rope hangs a ring. The ring is bound around a man's waist. If that can still be considered as human. This human isn't kept like a madman. The most frightening thing is that his 4 limbs have all been cut off. What is left of his shoulders and his legs are only round balls of flesh. Once touched, he will let out a loud ah sound. His tongue has also been cut off, so he cannot say complete words. A paragraph selection, Shen Qingqiu's ending. Shen Yuan, no wait. Shen Qingqiu bowed his forehead. He doesn't have the privilege of lamenting the deaths of others. The person who died most tragically is him. Don't make a big mistake. Need to strangle any possibility of mistakes before they occur. From now on, need to hug the male protagonist's thighs. Need to be gentle, earnest, and warm in his instruction and act towards him as both a teacher and a friend. Need to greet him warmly. Just when he came up with this plan, a noisy string of alarms sounded in the sea of Shen Qingqiu's mind. It was just like a band of 100 police cars shrilling loudly, shocking him and making him clutch painfully at his head. Yue Qingyuan was immediately worried and said, "Junior Preten's brother, your head still hurts?" Shen Qingqiu grit his teeth and didn't answer. The system sharply warned, "Warning, your plan is very dangerous. It is a violation. Please do not attempt. Otherwise, the system will automatically initiate punishment." "Violation where?" "You are now at the beginning stage. OOC function freeze activated. You need to complete the beginning stage before functions can be unfrozen. If you conduct any actions against the original Shen Qingqiu role before functions are unfrozen, a certain amount of points will be deducted." As someone who is at least half a scholar in the past, Shen Qingqiu would look at some of his classmates' homework. You know how it is. Of course, he knows what OOC means. Out of character is the full text for the abbreviation, literally meaning that the role isn't done well and isn't in accordance with the original character. That is to say, before getting that whatever function unfrozen, my behavior can't exceed what Shen Qingqiu would do? Correct. It can let him transmigrate into Shen Qingqiu's shell, but it still cares about something small like OOC? Shen Qingqiu asks, "You said earlier something, the points can't be less than 0. If less than 0, what would happen?" "You will automatically be transported to your original world." Original world? But in his original world, Shen Yuan's fleshly body is already dead. That is to say, if those whatever points are deducted to nothing, what awaits him is death. Then if he doesn't have anything to do with the male protagonist, he should be fine, right? He lifted his head, gazing around him. He did not see Luo Binghe's person anywhere in the line of disciples before him. He lazily and carelessly said, "Where is Luo Binghe?" Yue Qingyuan paused, looking at him with a strange light in his eyes. Shen Qingqiu's appearance reveals nothing, but is secretly puzzled. Can this be the time that the male protagonist hasn't yet been accepted into Changqiong's sect from below? Yue Qingyuan said, "Junior apprentice brother, don't be upset." From Shen Qingqiu's heart rises an ominous feeling. Yue Qingyuan sighed, "I know you don't like him, but that child has persevered enough and hasn't done much wrong. There's no need for you to punish him again." Shen Qingqiu listened to him speak, wetted his dry lips and said, "Say it straight, where is he?" Yue Qingyuan was silent for a moment, then said, "After you strung him up and hit him, don't you always shut him up in the woodshed?" Shen Qingqiu's face was black.